got 5mm Allens all the way around here. We have these caps off because of doing the valve adjustment. Check that video out on our channel. Got our rear cover off there, or stator and flywheel cover here. A couple different points that you can tap on if you can get to it with maybe a hammer or a rubber mallet. There are a couple of different parts here, or you can take a rubber mallet, kind of tap. I like to put pressure up on it. And there's going to be some pressure on here because of that flywheel being magnetic. And then you've got a gasket there holding it on as well, so you don't really know exactly what you're catching on. Then you got a shaft right here, your shifter shaft. That could give you fits as well. All right, stator is off there. That's your stator magneto assembly. Got your coils on there. That's your power source on your bike. And then clean this gasket area up. Before going back together, we'll have to take a razor blade and scrape this all off. Flywheel here is held on with a 14mm. Here's the puller that I'm going to use here. We'll leave a little bit of a gap there, but I wanted something to put my puller on there. Take our 19 then, and gotta be careful we don't go up too far, but we just want to break this free. All right, that loosened it up there. If you've got a different way of doing that, please leave those in the comments below. That seemed to have worked just fine. If we had a little bit longer bolts, that would have been ideal. But that worked all right. So we got the flywheel off there. We've got a Woodruff key that sits in there. You want to make sure you pull that off, or you're going to have a hard time getting this idler gear off. And we've got our starter drive here, or one of our starter idler gears here. When the starter engages, when the starter motor engages, it turns this gear, which on behind this gear you can see there's larger teeth that are on this. And this, at this point, will spin either direction. Typically you would have this flywheel on it with this starter bearing in behind there, and this will only spin one direction. So you set it on there, you can see it'll freewheel one way, and it'll push the motor the other way. So when that starter is engaged, it engages this idler gear here, which engages your starter clutch. You let off of that, and that just spins and freewheels. So it's important that this gear is working, or this bearing is working. It's important that these teeth are good. Otherwise, your starter is just going to turn over and not connect to this gear here. There's a washer behind here, so make sure that gets put where it needs to go there, going back together. Now you can see we've got our for our rear, our cam chain guide sits down here, two 10mm bolts to remove that. And that was for the rear. So then we'll take and we'll pull that rear out. You can see how that chain drops down in here. And it's important that you don't spin that motor over, because what happens is it'll bind in here and it'll break this holder off, and that is where your guide sits down into when that cam chain is out of the way. So the cam chain is like that, and you can see there it already got bound a little bit when we were messing with the motor, but that guide sits down in there like that. And so if that is broken, you may as well throw that case away. You don't want to just JB weld that or rig that up, as if you're going down the road and that locks up, you're going to have some serious problems. So cam chain is out, that rear guide is out. We've got our shift shaft here. While this motor is turned this direction, this idler gear post will pop right out of there. No washers on behind here, so that idler gear will just set right on there. Again, that attaches to the starter that's there. No washers on either side of that. We've got an oil line coming down here. That's removed by a couple Allen